conversation as we explore people and ideas that are changing not only how the world sees blindness, but how the world sees life's stuff, life's roadblocks, in air quotes, roadblocks, life's curveballs. So if you don't know me, I'm Kristen Smedley, filmmaker. How crazy is that? I get to say filmmaker. We're going to dive into that. Best-selling author and the mom behind the true story that inspired my first feature film, Curveball. It's a Rocky-style underdog story about resilience, access, and what happens when someone refuses to be counted out. Okay, so in this series, I am talking with folks that are across all industries, some navigating life differently than the rest of us, and others blowing through roadblocks and curveballs, and some, like my buddy LA today, doing all the things with all of the background. Because the thing is, life's going to throw curveballs and you get to control the comeback.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me, okay, so Kristen here is producing and speaking here. There's my buddy LA on the big screen. What
What's
is up,
going
man?
on? I'm pumped up, fired up, super excited.
Yeah, LA's already showing me up with his really cool studio that I'm going to zoom in on right now so you can see how super cool it is. Okay, so LA, give a little bit of what you're doing in the world and then don't reveal why we started this conversation today. Just tell everybody what you got going on first.
Man, listen, we got everything going on. Right now, I'm focused so much on the Vision Banquet. So, for folks who don't know me, as she said, my name's L.A. Williams, short for Leslie Alexander Williams III. And I know my name sounds as if, I grew up having a whole lot of money or something like that. But if that's what y'all was thinking, you got another thing coming. Because I didn't, y'all. I actually grew up in average and ordinary town America. Probably less than average and ordinary, if I'm being honest. It's called North Philly, okay? So, that's not the normal place that you go to find, financially independent individuals, right? But for me, I was sick and tired of the not having, right? I understood that there was going to be some things that I was going to want to do in life. And if I didn't have no money, I was going to be limited, and I don't like being limited. I'm already blind. You see what I'm saying? So I don't like limitations, and so I felt like in order for me to compete at life the way I wanted to compete at life, first of all, being blind already comes with a blind person tax. In case y'all didn't know, like we got to buy all types of equipment and all kind of stuff just to keep up. So I got to have some daggone money. And so that's really what I'm focused on. Not only having it, because I kind of got into a place where I got a little bit of it, right? The vice president of Dealer Synergy and all that good stuff. But now my goal is to helping other people be able to realize whatever dreams it is that they have, whatever visions they have. I want to make them come true fruition, because I feel like just because you have a limitation does not mean you got to live a limited life.
Let's go. See, I told you all. People are like kind of listening in the background. Then they're like, wait a minute, what is happening here? Okay, now you got a little taste of the energy that we're bringing. Okay, now let's get into, first of all, why I saw that post on Facebook and I was like, dude, I texted you right away. I'm like, you have got to come on. We have got to talk about this. Who knew that
Yeah.
buying a new laptop. Okay, first of all, for those of you that are watching, listening, okay, buying a new laptop for me, the one I am currently using that you might see shaking because my camera the external camera is too heavy because the thing is so rinky dink. Me having to switch a laptop is like, you might as well move me to a whole nother country and give me zero supplies. And I sit and cry over the thought of having to move all my stuff. So let's talk about, you posted about getting a new laptop. You've already
Yeah.
revealed that you've got blindness as a layer going on there. But
Mhm.
let's talk about the beginning of that post about getting the new laptop and then where it went. So let's dive into that.
Okay. So, I got to remember, because my whole thing is stuff. I just do stuff, right? And then I'm like, wait a minute, I kind of enjoyed, doing that. It happened over like a 3-day period or something. And I felt like, hey, this might be beneficial for other people to see. So I just kind of like put the post together so that people could, like experience what I experienced kind of like over 3 days, but then like a couple minutes of reading it. So you might need to be a little bit more specific for me because I can tell you the entire, like the whole journey and how I've kind of set myself up to not have to worry about what you just talked about as far as moving stuff over. Because I mean, I've been dealing with that since, years ago. You want to talk about like, the early 2000s and, kind of getting new stuff and having to move in and, oh my gosh, where's this and where's that and all that. So we go from wherever, but ask, I guess, a more specific question so I could dial in.
Okay, so the starting line is feeling overwhelmed and moving into being confident. I mean, just saying new laptop, to
Yeah.
me, that put me in overwhelm, and I'm not even in the market for a new laptop. I wanna run in the opposite direction. That's how overwhelming something like that is. So,
Gotcha.
let's start with that laptop and then go into what that really signifies in terms of running
Okay.
from overwhelm.
Gotcha. Okay. So now I might have been a little because for me, I do understand technology to a point. But what I will say is that I was like, okay, how much money do I want to spend? Right. I know I need to get something more powerful because when I got my computer, my last laptop, right, it was kind of like I knew I had to get it because I wanted to write a book and I'm not going to be sitting here writing a book. I got a desktop, which I do my studio work on, and I got my phones and iPads, and writing a book was just not going to work there. So I got that laptop knowing that it wasn't going to be powerful enough for me to do everything I wanted to do, but I wanted to write a book. So I said, okay, cool. Well, we're just going to, kind of put ourselves in position. So as I had that laptop for over the last couple of years, it was certain things I wanted to do, and it was laptop was like, limitation, right? limitation. And y'all know I don't like limitation. So I said, okay, I dropped it a couple times, right? So it's really was giving me some limitations, right? So I'm like, all right. So when I was at NADA, some of y'all know that I spoke at NADA, we had a challenge with the screens coming up and everything. And it was like, anybody got a PC? Yeah, I do. But your mouse pad doesn't work. Now, for me, that's not a big deal, right? We didn't have any external mice, so it was just I was walking someone through how to use JAWS to kind of like as a sighted person, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever." And I'm like, "Haha, see what I got to go through every day, right?" So it kind of started there, but I said, you know what? I need to get a new laptop. I need to start dialing in. Let me start asking some questions. Let me kind of start opening my mind up as to what are the processors, what are the things that I'm going to need. I knew that, obviously I'm going to go with Windows because even I was just talking to David Dino Terrace, right? And he's like, I don't know, LA, you might want to go with the Mac. But man, Mac's just I like iPhones and iPads, but Mac OS is not my friend. Because the only reason why is because I'm so good and I'm so fast with JAWS, and agility is everything to me. So the simple fact that I was gonna have to learn, I'd rather just get a laptop, like a PC, a Windows laptop, and then go from there. So I knew I knew that I needed that. It just was okay. I got to figure out. I don't want to overspend, right? I don't want to just spend money stupidly, and you can definitely do that in the laptop market. But I also can't underspend here either because that's what got me in trouble the last time. So that's kind of where the quote unquote overwhelm started because there's thousands. There, when you talk about a Mac, it's like 3, 4, 5 you could choose from. But when it comes to a PC, it's about 3, 4, 500, right? so that's the thing that causes the overwhelm because you got to narrow it down.
So you just segued into my next question.
Okay.
I heard you say asking the right questions, and then what you just said, narrow it down. So let's talk about somebody, outside of laptop shopping, what they're facing right now, whatever curveball they're in the middle of,
Mm-hmm.
and they're overwhelmed by where they need to how they're going to get from where they're at now to the comeback, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what can they do if they're feeling so stuck, and a lot of people feel broken when they're overwhelmed.
Yeah, I get that. And I think most times, and I gotta be careful when I talk like this because I don't get the whole overwhelm thing. I don't deal with that on a very long, like, because I can't, right? I got too much to do, right? So I'll tell you what happens is when we get overwhelmed is because we're concerning ourselves. We're trying to control things that are outside of our control. Right. I mean, that's what really overwhelm is because you got too much on your plate. You got too much. but you can't control all that. I just want you to know, right? Stop trying because that's what's causing you to feel overwhelmed, right? There's something called the circle of concern. I understand it concerns you, but if you can't influence it, then you need to just let it go. Okay. So I'm going to tell you something like, and I actually recently talked about this on one of my vision banquets. I said, you got to kind of separate life into four key areas, right? The four D's. Okay. So there's some things in life that you're not going to be able to do right then and there. You're going to have to delay it. Okay. There's certain stuff, and it just can't happen right now. Okay, well, don't stress over it. Just delay it. Hey, I'm gonna have to put this on the calendar. I'll get to this at this point in time, right? There are some things in life that you're gonna have to be like, you know what? This ain't getting done. It is what it is. I'm not doing it. Right. I could delegate it to someone else, which is the third or second D. I should put these in really in a good order for speaking. But anyway, yeah, there's some stuff you're gonna delegate to other people. Hey, listen, it has to be done, but I ain't the one who got to do it. Right. So you're gonna delegate it to someone else. There are some things that you just need to destroy, dump. You need to let it go. Like, listen, it's not gonna get done. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. It's not gonna. Is it going to matter in 1 month? 1 year, 5 years. If it's not going to matter, then yeah, I'm not doing that, right? And then lastly, there are some things that you just got to do. So you need to stop thinking everything belongs in the do category because I promise you it doesn't. Some things need to be delayed, some things need to be delegated, and some things just need to be plain old dumped. And I think if we were to master that thought process, it would help us with this whole overwhelm nonsense.
I love it. And here's what I think is really important for folks to think about.
Mhm.
LA, did you come up with this like overnight and anytime you have a curveball that it's just instantaneous, you just pivot?
No, I wish that I did, but no, that's not how it worked, right? It was something that I learned. I actually got that from a lady named Rita Huckle. One of my vice presidents came. This was back in this was early 2010, 11, somewhere around there. She came back from a women's conference with that thought process, and I was like, wow, it stuck with me. And initially, it doesn't permeating your system, but as you grow throughout life, you start to realize, hey, you know what, there are now some people call it the 3Ds. They say, do it, delegate it, dump it, or something like that, whatever. But I realized that there are four different Ds that you could do. So to me, that's how I live my life.
So let's get real practical here. Somebody's
Okay.
in overwhelm right now. Somebody's feeling stuck. There's a team leader that is like, we are going in the wrong direction. What's the
Okay.
best way to start pivot and start the mindset shift?
So the team, I'm talking to the team lead, or am I talking to the
Let's talk to the team
teammate?
leader because that's
Okay.
your jam.
Okay. All right. So we're going in the wrong direction. Okay. So what is again? Everything is questions for me, right? Okay. So tell me about your current situation. It's always called the current situation analysis. Okay. What is the deal? What do we got going on here, right? So look, let's write that on down, right? Okay. Where is it that what's wild is that I think sometimes we got to have the negative motivation. If we don't change, where will we end up? That's what I want to know. Like, let's
Mm.
kind of get really succinct with the pain. Okay, if we don't do nothing, LA, this is what's going to happen. Just so you can see what it looks like, so you can know. Okay, cool. Now that I know that, okay, so now where do I want to go? Okay, I want to go here. All right, cool. Well, then if I don't change, I'm gonna end up over here and I don't want to be there. And if I know I want to be over here, what are the adjustments that need to be made in order for me to not go over there where I don't want to go to over here where I do want to go? I mean, and it's tough when we're having interviews like this. I like for people to really ask me the real questions, right? I want to be really on the spot so I can break it down for you and tell you, listen, this is exactly what you got to do, right? So it's a little tough because it's just an interview and we're being kind of general. But I promise you, that's what it looks like in order to get to what you like, in order to get in moving in the direction that you want to go. You got to be able to reverse engineer what you really want.
I think that you just opened the door to a whole new thing that we're gonna have to have some curveball coaching.
Okay. Let's
Let's
go.
go. We'll bring folks in and we can get real with real situations that are happening.
Hmm.
So I'm hearing a lot of, and let's go down this path for a hot second.
Yeah.
It's small decisions,
Yeah.
right? Little
Absolutely.
decisions.
Yeah.
Stack them up on top of each other.
Hmm. Because you got to be committed. And that's the thing. I think a lot of times we aren't committed to the result. See, when you're committed, right, you're gonna do what you said you were gonna do, even though the feeling you said you were gonna do it in is gone, right? I know when
Mhm.
you said you was gonna do this thing, you was pumped up, fired up, super excited. But a couple days later, you ain't pumped up, you ain't fired up, you ain't excited about nothing. But the job still has to get done. And so you gotta remain committed. And so that's the difference. And so you have to start making little decisions. All right, cool. Here's we're gonna definitely, even though we can't do all of this, we're definitely gonna start doing this. Okay, cool. So now we're doing that. Now let's add this. Okay, cool. Now we know we're doing that. All right. So the next step is for us to do this. And so again, that's why it's so important to be able to reverse engineer what it really looks like. So once you know where you want to go, you'll the path will be clearer to you in order to get where you want to go. Now, here's the thing: don't think it's going to go like super smooth, because in this curveball, you're going to have other curveballs, right? Because you're
Hmm.
going to try to take step 5, and then you're going to realize, oh wait, hold on, that's not the proper step 5. I got to switch that 5 for another step 4, and then I can continue on down the path. And so that's the fun of it, though, right? It's the journey. It's like, okay, cool. I'm so excited because I constantly want to go somewhere. So let me give you a little sneak peek into my new book that I'm writing. Y'all know I wrote So What I Can't, the guide to winning in the face of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And it starts off talking about a gentleman named Caleb, and he's climbing the hill, and he wants to get to the tree of like abundance and all of that good stuff, right? Well, see, in that moment, it seems like the tree is the goal, right? But
Hmm.
then once he gets there, what I'm going to tell y'all about now is that the tree, that whole climb was nothing but preparation, right? it's just preparation for him to do the next task that's being assigned to him. See, the climb that you're fighting right now, that you're like, oh my God, it's so hard, right? That you're going to realize later that that was just preparation for you to do the next thing. And if you truly look back on life, right, you'll realize that there are some climbs, mountains of things that you've accomplished that that wasn't the goal. All it did was prepare you for the one that you're dealing with right now. And once you realize that life ain't nothing but a series of climbs, because it's gonna be another price after that, and it's gonna be another price after, and you realize it's just a matter of just keep on paying these prices until we get, and it's not even like an end result type of thing. Of course, you're gonna enjoy where you get to, but even then, there's gonna be something else, because we're human beings, right? We're human becomings, and we always want to become, do, be, have more, and we always want to help other people achieve more. And so that's what this whole thing is about. I just want you to understand your curveball is just a kind of a normal, regular situation right now, preparing you for your next one. Don't think it's over. I just want you to know that it's not over. I like when Teddy Riley be like, the party ain't over, right?
Listen, if anyone can testify to that being so true, it's me putting this film into the world. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
I remember last year I was like, forget it. I must be crazy. Like, I really thought that this was going to make a big difference. And I'm like, would you stop with the pity party? Who are
Mm.
you becoming as you're putting this into the world? And I'll tell you what, if this would have come into the world 2 years ago, I 100% believe it would not go anywhere near
Wouldn't be
as
ready.
far as it's going to go, because
Mm-mm.
now that whole thing you're talking about with being committed, you
Yeah.
know, I was like, every day, what are we doing to build relationships to make this film go as far and wide as it needs to go? And I actually,
Mm-hmm.
as you were talking about all that committed, like in the Thrive Code, I talk about being tenacious.
Yeah.
Our mutual friend, Microsoft Matt,
Mm-hmm.
he was such a picture of that, because remember last summer when he got laid off from Microsoft and he was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to get rehired at Microsoft. That's my goal. He knew he
Mm-hmm.
began with the end in mind. He knew where he was going. Do you know what he told me the other day, LA?
What's that?
199 positions he tried to get and failed, and it was number 200 that he is now back to work. That was in 4
You
months.
gotta love it. You gotta love that.
4
I'm
months,
just.
199 no's from the one company he had already been at and wanted
Mm-hmm.
to get back to, and now he's got a position that is absolutely extraordinary,
That's
and
phenomenal.
the man that he was already an incredible man, but
Mm-hmm.
watching him build the relationships, be humble, be tenacious, and came with us to Cardone headquarters in the
Yeah.
midst of that whole battle of unemployment, and still empowered and was of service to all those kids there.
Beautiful. That's what I'm
Talk
saying.
about
It's all about.
committed.
That's the story. That's the story. That is what life looks like, right? They talk about, Colonel Sanders with his 1,000 different. It's about, 7 up. Seven seems like a small number, right? But why do you think it's called 7 up? Because 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, 4 up, 5 up, 6 up did not work, right? So they talk about, Thomas Edison with his, 9,999 times, 10,000 times it didn't work, right? But now we got light bulbs. So it's like this is what life is.
I just heard that story the other day. I don't know why I never heard that it was 10,000 tries to get the light bulb. Why didn't
Mhm.
they tell me that back in 4th grade when I learned about the science of a bulb?
See what I'm saying? They don't want you to know. That's the good information, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, you know that we could talk all day, and I know that you are a busy, busy man out there in the world with the new laptop and changing lives. But
Yeah.
wait, before we wrap up, and I didn't. This is what I ask everybody, and I didn't give you the heads up on this. Is
Okay.
there a film that either was pivotal in your life or that you could watch over and over and over again?
Wow, that is a good question. I have multiple films that are like that, but they all serve different purposes, right?
Mm.
So you got to understand, like, if you don't want to go like straight entertainment, one of my favorite films, just because I'm a comedy and drama type person, I like Bad Boys. You know what I'm saying? So like Bad Boys too. Like those are my things. But if you want to talk about like determination and all that, I gotta hit you with the facing the giants of the world. I got to hit you with the remember the titans of the world. I
Oh
got to
yeah.
hit you with, you see what I'm saying? Like those are the types of things. But I'm a music guy, right? So I love Hamilton, right? I'm a Hamilton guy, right? I'm a Ninja Turtles kid, so I can watch the original Ninja Turtles a whole bunch of times. So see, this is what you get for not prepping me, right? Because
I love it.
I'll give you a whole bunch of different genres of films that I could just watch over and over and over. And then don't get me started on Harry Potter. Don't get me started on that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, there's another cool backstory about where J.K. Rowling was and trying to
Mhm.
get Harry Potter into the world,
Absolutely.
and how many people told her it
Absolutely.
was the dumbest story and it
Oh
would never
my
go anywhere.
gosh.
How
Yes,
hilarious is
100%.
that?
I love it. I love that. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Let's go. All right, LA, where can folks, I know they're going to want more of you, and I know we're going to have to bring you back on, but where can they
Yeah.
get you in the meantime?
Man, I'm all over Facebook. There's no reason why you wouldn't be able to find me on Facebook, but you guys can go to visionbanquet.com. I'm actually refreshing the site. It might be done today. It might be as we speak. I don't know. I'm kind of touching the base with my webmasters, right? But visionbanquet.com. I have my Facebook group is called the Vision Banqueteers. I'm in the Thriving Blind community. I'm where y'all at. Let's go, right? But if anybody wants to be like in my actual web, you can always send me a text. The number's 267-551-6279. Again, 267-551-6279. When you text me there, I'll just send you a link and you can put your information in my phone and everything because I'm always so busy. But you'll have direct communication with me if that's something that you'd like to have.
Love it. Thanks, man. Thanks for taking the time. For a little fun fact as we go out here, LA and I are birthday twins. How about that?
Sure. I love it.
September
September
19th.
19th.
We're
Let's
not gonna
go.
talk about who's older, who's younger. We're just gonna say we share the day.
It's so interesting because you said about a laptop. I thought we was gonna come in here. I thought I was gonna talk about the processor. I thought you wanted to have some conversations about RAM. I thought you wanted to talk about
Oh, hell no. No. That's hilarious. Someday we can talk about that when I need to fall asleep.
That stuff is
Uh,
exciting, man. I'm trying to say because it's so wild how they'll try to get you, man. I'm trying to say is you want man. I ain't gonna talk about it because I'll get excited, right?
I know, and then we're gonna look, we'll wait for part 2. We'll have another episode. All right, everybody. You see how LAI get all fired up when he says to me, I only have 30 minutes. I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy, we're gonna go on for 90. But
Mm-hmm.
listen, I hope that something in this conversation today helped you just change your mindset on a current curveball that you're facing or that your team is in the middle of. And if it resonated with you and you know somebody that it would resonate with as well, go ahead and share it or tag them where you see this on the platform that you're on. Tag them so they get to see it too.
Yeah.
Listen, life throws curveballs. You get to control the comeback. follow the story of Curveball, the feature film, coming into the world at kristensmedley.com/film, which is on the screen there. And definitely connect with us over on Instagram, where you'll see more clips from the Curveball conversations. LA, thanks a bunch. And thanks everybody for tuning in. See y'all next
Knock
time.
him out the park. That's what you got to do. Make that picture sorry for even sending that thing your way. Knock it out the park.
Goodbye.